Samsung promised us that they would innovate fully with the Galaxy S5, and we'll let you be the judge of that. But so far, one of the biggest comparisons you are expecting is the Galaxy Note 3, so let's talk about it. Okay, look at this. Galaxy S5, Galaxy Note 3. 5.7-inch 1080p display, 5.1-inch 1080p display. Both displays are Super AMOLED. It is pretty much the same technology. I can't tell you that one is more vibrant than the other because honestly they're not. The UIs are very, very similar, if not the same. This is the new version of TouchWiz. This is the old version of TouchWiz. This phone is running on Android 4.4 KitKat. This phone is running on Android 4.3 still until Samsung bears with us and gives us the update. But honestly, there is really not much of a big difference here. If you're currently rocking a Note 3, we'd say you have a good phone. First of all, this phone is clocking a 2.5 gigahertz Snapdragon processor. We've got the 2.3 gigahertz Snapdragon processor on the Note 3 in certain cases. Some people have the Exynos Octa. But then again, we've got 3 gigs of RAM on the Note 3. You've got 2 gigs of RAM on the S4. But remember, this is KitKat, so it's a much more efficient smartphone than in the case of the Note 3. Then if we look at the other differences, for example, they're pretty much almost as thick. Obviously, the Note 3 has to be a bigger phone, but we've got this sort of like rubbery back, and on the case of the Galaxy S5, we've got the faux leather back on the Note 3. And then again, it's really hard for me to tell you what other differences aside from the fact that, yes, we do have a 16-megapixel camera in the case of the Galaxy S5, not optically stabilized. We do have the 13-megapixel camera in the case of the Galaxy Note 3, and yeah, we do have the heart rate monitor in the S5 that you don't have in the case of the Galaxy Note 3. Other hardware differences is, yes, the fact that you can unlock your phone with this with a fingerprint scanner on the display in the case of the Galaxy S5, which we sadly had to disable because it wasn't really working. In the case of the Note 3, you don't have that option. Other hardware differences is obviously the Wacom digitizer in the case of the Galaxy Note 3 that detects the S Pen and allows you to do different things that you can't do with the Galaxy S5. Yes, you can't buy an S Pen and use it on the S5. This does not have the same digitizer. Aside from that, when it comes to software, going back, we have this new sort of I don't know, icon UI in the case of the S5, where in the case of the Note 3, it is still the typical different selection options. We can't tell you which one is better, honestly. It depends on you. So far, this is fancy, it looks good, it looks minimalistic, we just don't know if it's better. It's gonna be up to you, but other than that, hey, this is pretty much almost the same phone. Galaxy S5 is not really the wow factor that we were expecting, but this is a work in progress. The Galaxy Note 3 is also a work in progress. And if you still have a Note 3, you probably should stay with it. Jaime Rivera from Pocketnow.com. Tony behind the camera, the Samsung booth. Oh, Unpacked 5, we're sweating, but we've got more coming up soon.